So we're going to change things up slightly. Instead of looking at some slides and some use cases, I'm going to have a chat with our next speaker. Now, our next speaker is from a financial institution that either I'm sure most of you might use as your own bank, but they are quite a complex business. And I'm sure that Ewan will talk about some of the challenges himself, but Nordea is also one of our customers. We work with them in Denmark, in Finland, and in Sweden. And it goes without saying, Nordea is a complex landscape to navigate. I think some of the complexities that we've seen include things like the number of merger and acquisitions that they've done of businesses over time. And of course, coming with that is completely new technology stacks that they need to embrace from the companies that they merge. You can probably understand the mess that could come with cleaning that up. So can you all join me in welcoming Ewan to the stage, who's the CDO of Nordea.
Hey man, how you doing? How you doing? Am I? Okay. Hi everyone, hello. I don't know what you mean. Complex? Everything's fine.
Well, let's start with that, right? So you are the Chief Digital Officer,
right,
for Nordea. And I mean, we've seen a theme here today of you need to get buy-in from C-level to make some transitions, actually work in the industry. What are the C-levels like yourself thinking at Nordea? What's the strategy around digital and data?
Well, okay, so I think it can get somewhat tiring hearing people with C in front of them talking about the importance and the awesomeness of data. You know, data is the new oil, etc., etc. I thought let's just get that out of the way right now. It's a gold mine, ladies and gentlemen. We understand that, but I think in banking, we've been digital. It's somewhat awkward being a chief digital officer because guess what? We've been doing digital since the 70s. We are a data-driven company. We've always been a data-driven company. It's often been on bits of paper though. The challenge then is moving that. We've had, as I say, digital data stuff since those big mainframes with tapes and so on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, no, I've seen some of them. Right, and
I've heard myths.
In fact, we have in our old HQ here in Copenhagen, we've got some of the original data repositories, i.e. the books, where we were writing down how much money you'd put in and how much money you'd taken out.
Yeah, that's right.
So to answer your question, it's a business critical reality, but it's a difficult question. It's a difficult question a difficult issue to grapple with, because when you've got colleagues throwing lots of interesting acronyms at you, fundamentally, some of my senior colleagues are wanting to say, yes, what do you mean? What do you mean? Right? Oh no, it's an AI system, black box, it's amazing, it's awesome. Right, sorry, that was just a stream of stuff there. What do you mean? And I think the challenge that many of us in the digital or the data space have is you get it. You get it, we get it. Yeah, cool, right? You know, it's written, it is known, and Google's doing it. Great, all right, okay, but now how are you going to explain that not to a senior bank executive, right? Actually, they're very forward thinking, honestly. It's, at least the Nordea guys are.
That silence was a good sign.
Yeah, what? Yeah, I thought I should qualify that. Right. It's actually the regulator, right? It's a regulatory challenge that we have all the time. Now, Nordea is 300 branches, 300 companies. Right, started 200 years ago almost, and it's an amalgamation of 300 companies. And for those of you Nordic focused, you will remember the older brands that came together to make Nordea. The challenge that we had is the integration of that. Because it's actually very easy to go, well, there's system 1, there's system 2. Do they need to be integrated? And of course, well, okay, how much is that going to cost? Because the answer is yes, digitally, right? You can do anything you want digitally, right? It's just how much and when.
Well, maybe talk a bit about that, because I mean, that was really my next follow-up question is what are the biggest challenges with that type of, I mean, I mentioned before, last time I got shown a slide by the guys in Finland that as far as you know, there's 413 companies that you have acquired. And there's this classic Nordea, I don't know if you've seen it, this classic map, network map of all the businesses coming in.
Yep.
I mean, integration 1 and 2 is no longer the problem. It's integration 1,000 and 5,000. How do you tackle that?
This is right. So all of you have an answer for this. Right? All of you, I have an answer for it. Right? It's very easy. Right? Really easy. It's just, let's just press stop, okay? And you've got hundreds of different systems, all different versions, different data types, different data. Why don't we just stop, right? And let's organize this properly.
That should buy you 6 months or
right?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the problem is you don't accept that as an end user. Okay. Could you stop using our services, please, for the next 6 months while we actually switch them off, right? Because everything we're doing is non-stop. Right, we can't do that now, and we're constantly having to work with all the infrastructure to keep it live and keep it moving. That's step one, right? And that's the regulator screaming and the customer screaming, making sure keep it live. Okay, and then it's still quite easy though, right? Data here, data there. All right, okay. So when are we going to move it? It's an ongoing challenge. Now, a few years ago, we just said, okay, we actually need to fix this. And just an insight into banking, most banking is batch-based, right? Okay, that's why when you log in to your banking system, you say, how much money have I got? And it says you've got 20,000 something. And you go, no, but I haven't because I spent 10,000 just now. Yes, but you got 20,000. And that's because you have to wait till midnight, right? For the systems and processes to run, and that's because it's all from the 70s, right? Most banks are batch. Okay, the new ones have got real time. How do we get real time? Real time everything. Okay, we have actually had to say, do you know what? Press stop. Press stop. We've called it a core bank replacement, and it's a hashtag nightmare, but it's also quite straightforward, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there's a lot of work involved. It's €1 billion, and we are halfway through, halfway through making that happen. When I say halfway, I mean it depends on your definitions, but we're live with customers now, with many of our countries. And what we've done is said, right, let's press stop. But while continuing, right? While continuing, and let's completely refactor everything. New core, real time, ready now for the next set of applications that you are currently dreaming up. And that's what we need. We need to have the right core in place. Now the question is, what are the other banks doing? What are the other big players in the region? And a lot of them are doing this. Right? Because they're on batch as well, right? Because the minute you press stop.
Was that holding on or shitting themselves? I don't know what that was.
Your definitions here.
A little bit of both, yeah.
Well, hey, look, I don't want to keep talking. Guide me, man. Guide me.
I mean, for me, was the decision that came down to reinvent this core banking, was it, I mean, you're a global business, you have global offices, and since we've been working with Nordea, there's change in ownership that's happened between countries as well.
Yeah.
I mean, are we still on the same course? Are you still on that same course of, no, it's happening like this, everybody's on board, every country is doing the same thing, it's unanimous? Are we still there?
So, yeah, you always have challenges with these processes, and the exciting thing is when you say, right, okay, do you know what, we're going to do vanilla. Right, we're going to buy vanilla, okay, and it's vanilla, okay, and we all know what that means, right, vanilla. Okay, so when the software provider updates it, that's when we'll update it, okay? And everyone agrees, yeah? And there's a room full of people such as this, right? We're all on the same page. The right thing to do. It's very expensive. The shareholders are supporting it. Let's make this happen. And then someone goes, yes. And then someone will say, but in Norway, it has to work this way. And we then go, right, just 2 minutes ago, we said we all agree it's going to be vanilla, so we need to change how it works in Norway. Yes, but the customers do it this way. All right, and then someone said, well, you know, while we're at it, in Denmark, they have this thing called Dankort. That can plug in. Well, no, because really we should probably, the customers and let's do it this way, and this is how. So okay, right. So we're all agreed. It's vanilla plus. Norway's wants one change, and you want one. That's probably manageable. Right? We're all right there. But the way mortgages work in Denmark, right? But you can use the same. right? So you've been in these situations, right? So it needs a heck of a lot of strong leadership, but it also needs a good tension play, right? Because the reality is, you have to respect the local demands.
Yeah,
So,
one of the things I'm so amazed with banks in general, but our work with Nordea, is it seems like every 3 months you're catching up on a new regulation that has come out of nowhere that you have to meet, and you're just about to get an audit like every other bank. And it's this constant fight of when do we get to that end goal? What's it like?
So, right, you know when I said it's easy? Because it is. When you're standing on it, it's easy. And it's actually quite straightforward, this process. You know, take that data, move it over here, done. But then you apply all the other excitement on top of it. That's when it gets particularly interesting. Now, I had a LinkedIn message this morning from a guy in another country saying, hi, Nordea is the type of company, we want to work with you guys. We're creating a startup bank, neobank. And it's freaking awesome. It's crypto-based. It's going to be amazing. I go, cool. And he said, we'd like to partner with you because of the compliance stuff. Right, go on. Yeah. And he said, so you said crypto. Yeah, what do you mean? Oh, it's amazing, and students are going to love it, and it's for the unbanked as well. And it's really cool. But what he did, I mean, virtually, he did the compliance bit. Right?
You take care of that.
Right?
Yeah.
Because all of us, you know where your money is, right? Okay, and your money is protected by regulation, and or the government, right? Okay, depending on which jurisdiction you're living in and so on, where you put them up. That I think we all need and want, but that then comes with all of the demands, correct and appropriate demands from the government and from the regulator, and then we have got to deal with that. So we'll deal with that. So we'll do the plain vanilla. We'll do the 2 changes. Oh, and you wanted the 1 change for the Danish mortgages.
Vanilla plus.
And we've got the MiFID 2. Cool. Well, all right. No, it's manageable. Fine. It's all right. The project plan looks quite cool at the minute. So we'll just move it. And you're involved in this stuff, right? And your organizations have the same level of complexity. It's just +1 for the regulator, right? For these things you can't mess around with. We have to deliver these things. And so that I feel for Joe Edwin is the guy that runs our core banking, and he's got a lot going on there, and we're doing our level best to support him because he's also got me going,
come on,
let's get that Google Pay thing out. And I can see them going, sorry. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Google Pay, right? It's freaking hot. We're doing it. And then they go, yeah, right. So what does that involve? I said, it's just a few core changes, just a few.
So we've established most people at Nordea do not like you.
Well, you know, that's my role as the challenger, right?
Yes, okay, that's true.
I'm there to challenge, but I'm also saying, come on, couldn't we get Google Pay out to the customers? Now, here's what would you do? What would you do, right? Because the one correct data answer, right? If you're loyal to the data world, you'd say no. I'm not doing Google Pay. They can wait. How long? Years. Right, go back with you. Okay, but then we also have the customer demand. Right, I freaking love it myself. Okay, I don't have a wallet. Don't carry cards. Right, I just touch and pay. I love this stuff. And I wanted it out the door for the customer. So this tension of saying, well, you know, we would all have a great, you know, if you'd stop speaking to us, all of us, all the regulators, all the customers, and we could just do this, it would be great. But no, it's a run fast environment, and it's a similar challenge that we all have.
You mentioned new companies and a startup,
yes,
you know, that came to you.
Right.
You've got Nordic Ventures.
Yes. Nordea Ventures.
Nordea Ventures, sorry. And I mean, how much focus are you as a bank putting on, let's go to new companies to help us solve some problems versus let's try solve this in-house? Like, what's the ratio?
Right. Do you know what? I don't.
Just a percentage.
So the ratio
is
it's small. Yeah, 0.00.
Yeah.
So it's small at the minute. But let me give you an example of what we've done, and we're pushing this hard. And partnership is very important to us. If you see me on stage, I tend to want to say partnership a lot, and we mean it. And we've had some great success. And I'll give you a very small example. If you're a Danish Nordea customer, download Nordea Wallet. Make sure you've got Nordea Wallet. This is our, one of our banking apps. And in that, there is a subscription management function. And it will tell you all of the subscriptions, the financial subscriptions that you have. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about Netflix, right? But all of the ones that you said, yeah, sign me up. And then in small letters it said, in 90 days, we're going to charge you crazy amounts of money, right? The ones you've forgotten about, okay? Because we all have subscriptions every month, every 6 weeks, every month, every 2 weeks, every year, every quarter, that you're not aware of. But happily, the credit card dudes, because most of us are using credit cards for these things, they've put in some really, really nice stuff that helps us say, well, this is a recurring payment, or this is a specific type of recurring payment. So we can identify those payments, right? We wanted to say, right, shouldn't we enable that facility for, let's tell our customers what they're spending on a recurring basis. Because you have that, when you log in and see the transaction list, chronologically, you know what you spent, right? But it's nice to actually see this, because a lot of this stuff is hidden. All the €3, 50 krona, all these, they're hidden, these things. And the gym membership as well, right? The one that you kind of, like me, I always don't go, but yeah. Or the newspaper subscription that you say, I should really cancel that. No, we looked at, how can we do it? Can we bring that to the customer? And I tell you, the amount in millions that we were looking at to make that feature, and the time in years to deliver that. Right? Because remember, you've got the core banking dudes, we've got the regulated people screaming, you've got the existing day-to-day banking people, we've got wanting to get Google Pay out the door, we've got all these other things. And by the way, let's launch subscription services for our customers so they can cancel, they can see the subscriptions and then they can cancel not just the payment, but actually go to the company and cancel it for me. We thought it was cool. But I mean, upwards of multi millions of euro to develop that service. Or partner. When we found a small company, last year I was at an event here in Copenhagen, and I met CDO, a sub-hub as they were at that point. I met Thomas. I just bumped into him and said, hi, I'm Ewan, Nordea. He said, well, I run a startup. I'm like, cool. What is it? He explained it. I said, that's pretty cool. We should probably use that. And of course, our default is typically great. We can do that. And we have got some great technical capability at Nordea. We're pretty good, no pressure. No. But the build versus buy is something we've been working heavily on. And I'm sure your organizations are looking at as well, right? Because we've got lots of tech people that go, no, we can do that. Cool, all right, but what's the opportunity? Couldn't we partner? So I introduced the sub-hub CDO guys to our retail people. Said, should we try this? A couple months later, we had an agreement, commercial agreement. And then, of course, we arrived going, now, by the way, 5 nines. And I can see the guys from CDO going, a small company going, yeah, we understand scalability. I said, no, it has to operate. It's got to run fast. It's got to be amazing. Your infrastructure has to be amazing. Who are you using? How are you doing it? No, we've got this. No, double it, triple it. No, that's fine. No, seriously. This is non-stop. It has to work. And of course, that costs money. So we made an investment in it. We bought a small percentage and said, here's a load of euro, or krona in this case, and we deployed the service in about there was a Danish summer. I'm Scottish, so I'm getting used to the Danish summer. There was a Danish summer in the way, but we did it. If you remove the Danish summer, we did the integration in 3 months, which I think is freaking awesome, right? So 6 months, right? And we're live in November last year, and the customers are loving it. So please do look. But that's a really good example of us not. There's a huge data question here, right? Because the amount of guaranteeing that we need to do, the due diligence, the technical due diligence and the data due diligence we had to do to make sure that you as a customer, your data is going through CDO. It's not going through, yes, they're using it, but actually it's our responsibility, fundamentally. So we're going to make sure it's rock solid perfect. That's been a lot of work, understanding how to do that, making that fast, making that bearable for them, for the third party. I think they're quite happy because we've launched it. It's great. It's really cool. Great feedback, and they're now able to deliver that service to other companies. That's a good example of partnership. But if you think about the data reality here, there's this. It's what do they call it? Non-simple. There's a better phrase. It's like, yeah. There's a better phrase than that. It's quite challenging.
And English is our native language.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know. Exactly.
I have one more question, but please, if anyone wants to ask you a question from the crowd, I mean, we had speakers from Nets before. We had speakers talking about machine learning from pension and finance industries. Yes. And I think they got up and they told everybody something that they're extremely proud about is what their company has produced. Right. I mean, Nets came up and said some pretty fantastic things, right? They've got the fraud detection there, awesome. Using decision trees. They've got the churn on customers. What are you proud of that's coming out of Nordea recently, besides the examples you just gave?
Google. Right, okay, right. So we have got some rather cool. No, it sounds a bit. Okay, chatbot. Yeah. Right, and so everywhere I go, people, we got a chatbot. It feels a little bit old, but actually, it's working really, really well. In some cases, it's answering 70% of our customer queries. So you're at that point of going, okay, really? We're asking the customers, are you happy with this? Yeah. Because the customer is loading up the chat window saying, look, I need a new credit card. How do I get a new debit card? And of course, the chatbot we're now really good at that. And that's inside the secure layer in Nordea, so it can respond going, yes, this is how you do it. And then the customer's going, thanks. Wow, that's pretty cool. And then mentioning pensions, we have Nordea Life and Pensions. They've been working heavily on a particular task that uses actual AI, ladies and gentlemen, actual, not just ML, uses some really smart neural networking viewpoints and techniques to look at your, when you need to make a claim. Because when you do need to make a claim, you want that dealt with as soon as possible, right? If you need money or you need something, you want it done quickly. We've managed to get that down to seconds. It used to take us weeks. But with the right approach, the right systems, there's a little bit of RPA in there as well. And there's a lot of ML, and then a sprinkle of AI. So we're not messing around. We can actually say it. It's real.
Have you seen that meme that it's machine learning is like clustering and AI is just the PowerPoint version of that?
I love that a lot. Yes. I like these things, because I'm usually the one having to go, no, delete that. We can't say that. Yeah.
Good. Does anyone have any questions for Ewan? Yes.
Well, you mentioned the chatbot. I also talked to your chatbot a few times. My experience is that all the simple procedures are actually going as smooth as they did before.
Yes.
But all the complicated ones really get complicated, even more complicated than it did before. Is that also your experience, that the complicated stuff sort of niggles around in weird places in the world?
Let's just talk about, because you breezed over the simple things, right? Because give me an example of a simple thing, just so we know.
I only do complicated things.
Okay. Because
I need a new credit card.
Right, because the point is, the simple things, we can't talk to you about the complicated stuff, right? Because we're too busy speaking to them in the queue in front of you about the easy stuff, right? So it is very easy to go, hi, how are you doing? And you typically it's 1 or 2 minutes, right? And you go, hello, I need a new debit card. We go, all right, thank you very much. You need to click. Anything else we can help you with? No, got that. Right, now while we're doing that, we're not serving you with the complex stuff. And that's the brilliance of this stuff, is the customers appear to be, we've been very, very apprehensive about, and really thinking carefully, do they want this? So we're testing and learning all the time. And the customers, the feedback from them has been phenomenal, which is great for us, because it's enabling us to do what we're aiming to do, which is be the relationship, to be able to be there, so that when you call with the complex stuff, we can actually, and typically it is a phone call, right? I mean, by all means, you can do some chat. But if it's complicated, you want to speak to someone, and especially if it's emotional, if it's dealing with something very personal, you want to speak to someone. You want to speak to someone now. And I personally don't want 5 people in the queue ahead of me ordering replacement debit cards, right? And those people also, even though it's simple, even though it's only 2 minutes or 60 seconds, they want it done quickly. So that I think is the aspect there that we're focusing on, and removing as much as we can the friction for the simple stuff. Now, the ideal is to be able to completely self-serve for some customers. Me, I love to self-serve, right? But other customers do not, right? And I'm paying for my service, and I want to phone you.
Yeah.
Cool, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
But thank you for your questions.
One of the insurance companies we work with, Top Denmark here in Denmark, when we were working with them, one of the key things that came up was, well, it's really a trade-off between efficiency from a cost perspective and are we having happy customers? And what we actually found with working with them was that they diverged. That, like you said, there are some customers, they love the phone call. And we could show that with data very vividly that, listen, this is not the right path to push those people in those demographics onto a website with a chatbot because they're also your happiest customers. So do you want lower cost or do you want happier customers? And sometimes there's a trade-off there. Does anyone have any more questions for Ewan? Yes.
Sir.
I have the $1 million question.
Oh, geez.
We're all familiar with the curve upon everything that we're talking about today, chatbots and cloud and Hadoop and open source and data lakes. That's been on the curve of pipe for a long time. So I'm going to ask you the tough question. If you're going to really cut through all this and say, what's the one big thing that's going to happen in the next year or two in AI and fintech? What would it be?
Good question, right?
So what's the one big thing in AI and fintech? I'm looking for a guaranteed response for you, one that's actually decent and useful, because there's lots of ways out of that question.
What do you think about the Intel Nordea chip?
The what, sorry?
The Intel AI chip, where you can plug it into your computer and turn it into an AI chip.
So what do I think personally? I love this stuff. I use other services are available, right? But I use Google Photos all the freaking time. I love the fact that there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the background that just presents photos of my daughter in a really nice way. My wife said to me, "That's a lovely photo you made." Like, no. She said, "You made the background black and white, and then you put her in pink. It's brilliant." And I've sent it to everybody, and I've stuck it on Instagram. I said, "Well, that wasn't me." I almost thought, "Yeah, thanks." But that was Google that did it. Freaking on. So I like this stuff if it can. This is me answering from a personal standpoint. If it can really add a lot of value to me. Now then, from a Nordea from a finance industry standpoint, what's changing? What's guaranteed to change? We, the industry, have a massive problem, huge acute problem, and it's incredibly difficult to deal with. And the answer is you, right? It's you and all of us, and how our expectations are changing. Now that might sound like a little bit of a get-out answer, right? But I don't mean it in such at all, because understanding where you are and what you're thinking is, and what you would be happy with, is incredibly difficult, even with the best data services, right? And we use a lot. Your expectations are constantly evolving, and they're completely different to where they were now than a year ago. So, for example, a year ago, were you using Volt here in Copenhagen to order food, right? Now, I love this stuff, right? I was, right? My wife wasn't, but now it's like 3 or 4 times a week we're using it. Now, that means that our viewpoints have changed completely. Our condition for acceptability on what's appropriate has changed and is changing. So that's actually more concerning to me than the specific technology, because behind that then are all the technologies and services you need to then deliver. I hope that wasn't.
This was something Rika brought up in her opening, was just around the large demand that's just there, that's just implied from everyone here.
Yes.
And I agree there's the complexity there. Can we all join Ewan in thanking him for being here and talking through?
No, thank you.
Thank you.